Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Good evening, aspirants. Welcome to the Hindu News Analysis discussion brought to you by ForumIAS for the date 5th of February 2023. The list of news articles for today's discussion is displayed here. The aspirants can have a look at it. So for today, we will be covering 5 topics ranging from governance, economics, and environment. So with this, straight away, let us move to the first topic. Now, coming to the first topic, why have mangroves got a budget push? Before getting into the topic, let us know about mangroves in short. See, mangroves are salt-tolerant vegetation and they are grown in the intertidal regions of rivers and estuaries. That is mostly in the seashore, which is covered under water during high tide, and that is why mangroves are known as tidal forests. Also, they belong to the category of tropical wetland rainforest ecosystem, and know that the mangrove forests are formed only when there is a intertidal flow, and also they need adequate sediments for the trees to set down their roots deep into the soil. Another unique feature about mangroves is that the mixing of fresh water and saline water will help in gradual formation of mangrove forests. This is because salt water has higher nutrient content that facilitates the mangrove growth. Now let us look into the stats of mangrove ecosystem. See, according to the State of World Mangroves Report 2022, the total mangrove cover of the world is around 1.47 lakh square kilometers. And according to the Indian State of Forest Report, India has about nearly 5,000 square kilometers of mangrove ecosystem. And know that mangroves in India are distributed across 9 states and 3 union territories. And the state of West Bengal, that has the Sundarban tropical rainforest, has the highest mangrove cover of 2,114 square kilometers. Also, the IFSR report registers an increase in mangrove cover from nearly 4,000 square kilometers in 1987 to 4,992 square kilometers in the year 2021. So approximately 1,000 square kilometers have improved from the year 1987 to 2021. However, other studies say that more than 35% of world's mangroves are already depleted. So the reasons that the study says that flooding caused due to sea level rise is said to be affecting the mangroves in the region. And secondly, the introduction of non-native and alien species of plants and animals are causing threat. Third, clearing. That is, large areas of mangrove forests have been cleared for agriculture purposes, human settlements, and also for industrial areas. So as a result of this, mangroves get depleted to a tune of nearly 2 to 8% annually. And fourthly, overharvesting is one of the factors. That is, mangroves are overexploited for firewood, construction wood, and even for charcoal production. So it leads to overharvesting. And in addition to it, the experts say aquaculture or fisheries along the coast regions obstructs the tidal flow. We studied, right? Tidal flows are very important for mangrove production. So any variation in flow or prevention of flow will reduce the productivity of mangroves. And in addition, the experts also said that obstruction of tidal flow is one of the biggest problem that mangrove ecosystem is facing. So as a result of these factors, mangroves are under constant pressure and are largely affected due to increasing population in coastal areas and rising demand for land. So for these reasons, the government and many NGOs are taking steps to protect the mangrove ecosystem. In that line, the government has launched an initiative for mangrove plantation along the coastline and on salt pan lands. That is the scheme named MISTI, that stands for Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitats and Tangible Incomes, is one of the scheme aimed to improve mangrove plantation along the coastline region. See, this scheme was announced in the recent budget for the year 2023 to 2024. And this MISTI scheme will be taken up for planting mangroves wherever feasible. And know that Such planting is done through convergence between MGNREGA, CAMPA funds and other sources. That is, people demanding work from MGNREGA will be employed to undertake plantation work, and the funds from CAMPA, that is the Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority, will be put to use for that program. But the organizations that have been involved in mangrove plantation say that initiative requires extensive work with local communities. That is, these organizations say that participative governance with respect to protection of mangrove ecosystem is very much essential. And they say continuous work is required to make sure that mangroves grow and stabilize in a particular region. This is because the survival rate of mangrove seed plantation is only 50%. And if we plant samplings directly, only about 60% is said to be surviving. And in addition, it takes nearly 3 years for a new plant to stabilize and grow. So, a contract-based plantation work where MGNREGA workers will come and plant seeds or saplings is not workable, because we need constant vigilance and we have to monitor the plantation area till the mangrove attains the stable growth. So, for these reasons, the article highlights the requirement of community participation. Hence, even if there is any problem in growing mangroves in a particular region, the community living there will bring local solutions that can be additional benefit in achieving our goal. And such measures are need of the hour because mangroves play a major role in addressing the climate change and its impact. See, the State of World Mangroves 2022 says that mangroves capture large amount of carbon, and the absorption of carbon by the mangrove ecosystem is 4 times compared to other ecosystems. In addition to it, the report says that even 1% loss of remaining mangroves could lead to a loss of nearly 0.23 gigatons of CO2 equivalent. So, in that way, mangroves perform the technique of carbon capture naturally and address the issue of global warming. Finally, the article concludes by saying that an initiative like MISTI is in line with India's INDC, that is Intended Nationally Determined Contribution, that was announced by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. See, according to that Intended Nationally Determined Contribution, plantation of mangrove ecosystem helps in achieving a target of creating additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2. And this Intended Nationally Determined Contribution has set a target year of 2030 to achieve that additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2. So this is what the article has to convey. And in this discussion, we saw about the mangroves and the reasons for its depletion and also the steps from the government to address it. So with this, let us complete the topic and move to the next one. Now coming to the second topic, climate change will increase hydropower generation. This news article is about the changing weather pattern and how the hydropower production is affected because of it. Here the article is based on a study that is made by a 2-member team from IIT Gandhinagar. And this team studied the hydroclimatic changes in the catchment area, and also they highlighted how changing rainfall pattern will affect the hydropower generation in 46 major dams located in North, Central and South India. See, first of all know that hydropower is the second highest power producing source in the world, and as a significant contributor to the clean global electricity generation, it produces nearly 13% of energy requirement. At national level, you can see from the diagram that this is hydropower. It contributes to 13% of total electricity generation. If you take solar power, it contributes to around 13% of total energy mix. Also, there is a large scope to increase the contribution of hydropower to the total energy mix. Now coming back to the article, the team looked at the increase in rainfall in the catchment area and the resultant inflow into all the 46 major reservoirs. For understanding the study in the comprehensive manner, the team divided the time period into near covering, mid and far periods. And they also took the reference period of 1995 to 2014 to make comparisons. From this study, the team members say that hydropower production in India is going to increase. And here the team has projected a 10 to 23% increase in hydropower potential in the country. They expect such an increase because of substantial increase in rainfall, causing a large scale of inflow to the reservoirs. See, here global warming and the impact of such climate change is what the article is all about. The team that made this study is saying that a warm weather is leading to increase in rainfall, and as a result of high rainfall, the water level entering the dam and other storage systems will increase. Such rise of water level in the reservoir system will cause increase in the hydropower generation. This is the crux of the article. Statistically, if we see, the study says that a warmer and a wetter climate will bring about 5 to 33% of increased rainfall in the region. And as a result, there will be an increased inflow by 7 to 70% into the dams. So ultimately, the hydropower production is likely to increase by 9 to 36% for most dams. But the important point to be noted is that such an increase in rainfall or hydropower is not uniform across the country. That is, the article says that only dams in central India shows significant increase when compared to dams in north and south India. See, North India is expected to face higher warming in the future. And as per the study, the highest warming that is projected for North India is about 5 degrees Celsius. So imagine the level of convectional current and low pressure formation when there is an increase of 5 degrees Celsius in the region. That is why experts suggest that there will be jump in the rainfall. But in addition, they also say that such an increase of temperature in North India will also lead to increase in evaporation of water particles. As a result, the inflow of water to few dams in rivers like Ganga, Mahanadi is expected to decline in the future. In short, even though there will be an increase in rainfall in northern part of India, it will not be much higher when compared to central India. See, the temperature increase projected for central and south India is around 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. Even though the temperature increase is less compared to North India, the study says that South India will not receive much increase in rainfall in future. So, only North and Central India will receive a higher increase in rainfall as a result of warming. And in South India, 8 out of 11 dams will experience a decline in hydropower potential, while the dams in Central India will experience a considerable increase in hydropower generation. Even for North India, there will be an increase in hydropower generation, but not to the level that is in central part of India. And the article highlights that substantial warming in North India will lead to reduction in snow and glacial storage. So the snow melt water contribution is also expected to come down in the long run. These are the variations that the study has put forward. Before concluding the article, the study team also cautioned about the storage system in India. They said that increase in rainfall as projected will need an effective storage system in order to prevent any catastrophe in the future, especially to prevent flooding, something like Chennai floods in 2015, which occurred due to maladministration in dam and water level management. So, the team suggests that the government should take steps for maintaining high reservoir storage conditions for most dams in the country. As a result, even any intense rainfall or sudden inflow of water into reservoir does not lead to flood conditions. That is all about the article. So, in this article, we spoke about how the climate change will impact the hydropower generation, and also we saw about the energy mix from various sources, and also about the concerns that were raised in the article. So with this, let us complete this one and let us move to the third topic of the day. Now, coming to the third topic, IBC boosted ease of doing business rank, says Justice Kaul. The Supreme Court Judge Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul recently addressed the inaugural conference of Insolvency Law Academy. In that conference, the judge took note of the IBC reforms that came into implementation in the year 2016. He said that the IBC reforms undertook by the Government of India has improved the business environment in the country, and also adds on to say that the startup culture is benefiting largely from IBC reforms. To substantiate his views, the judge took note of Ease of Doing Business Index. See, Ease of Doing Business is an index that is published by the World Bank till the year 2022. See, India's rank in Ease of Doing Business Index was 142 in 2014. But it improved to the rank 63 in 2022. Here, the judge credits IBC reforms for India's improvement in ease of doing business. So in this context, let us discuss about the IBC in detail. See, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016 is considered as one of the biggest insolvency reforms in the economic history of India. First, before getting into the topic, you have to know the meaning of insolvency and bankruptcy. See, the insolvency is a situation, that is, it happens when a person is unable to pay debts on time. It may be non-payment of interest payments or even principal amount that has to be paid. This happens when firm faces continuous loss and has very weak balance sheet, that the promoter of a firm becomes unpayable to their creditors. But bankruptcy is a legal status, that is, after undergoing an insolvency situation, the person comes forward, that is, the promoter comes forward and declares that they are not in the position to pay their debts to creditors. So when a promoter of a firm declares in that way, the government of India comes to rescue the creditors and undertakes asset restructuring. This is where even the IBC comes to play. See, as I said earlier, the government introduced the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code in the year 2016. And the purpose was to resolve claims involving insolvent companies. That is, to resolve the debts of companies that have declared themselves insolvent. The intention behind the reform is to tackle the bad loan problems that were affecting the banking system. Now, if we take the IBC, the code replaced all the existing laws and created a uniform procedure to resolve insolvency and bankruptcy disputes. So as of now, only IBC deals with the insolvency problems in India. In that way, the code allows creditor to assess the viability of a debtor. And based on the assessment made by creditors, the creditors can draw up a plan and get their credit back from the firm. And if a plan is drawn by other institutions under the IBC, creditors can either agree with the plan that aims to revive the firm, or the creditors can suggest a speedy liquidation for getting back their money. As I said earlier, the code creates a new institutional framework for a formal and time-bound insolvency resolution process and liquidation. This framework includes insolvency professionals, insolvency professional agencies, information utilities, adjudicating authorities like National Company Law Tribunal, Debt Recovery Tribunal, and finally it also includes Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. First, let us see about insolvency professional. See, they are the individuals who will administer the resolution process. Resolution process means like taking over the management of firm or raising interim finance to carry out business operations, or even protecting and preserving the assets of the firm that is declared insolvent. See, these are all done by the insolvency professional. In addition to it, they also provide information for creditors to assist the creditors in taking decisions. Secondly, this insolvency professional agencies are those agencies that conduct examinations to certify the insolvency professionals. And after getting the certifications, the insolvency professionals will get registered with insolvency professional agencies. And in addition to it, the insolvency professional agencies have the power to enforce a code of conduct for performance of insolvency professionals. Third is the information utilities. They are the institutions that keep record of debts which are given by creditors along with the details of repayment of debts. Fourth and the important part of IBC are the adjudicating authority. See, the adjudicating authorities are those that will give the approval to initiate the resolution process, and only adjudicating authority will appoint the insolvency professional and approve the final decisions of creditors. We have different adjudicating authorities for different categories of firm. For example, the National Company Law Tribunal is the adjudicating authority for companies and limited liability partnerships, while the Debt Recovery Tribunal is the adjudicating authority for individuals and partnership firms. Final institution is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board. See, this board will regulate the insolvency professionals, insolvency professional agencies, and the information utilities set up under the code. Now, from the mains angle, let us know about the challenges in the IBC in short. First thing is the weak resolution plan. See, between the year 2016 to 2021, out of the total 4,376 companies that have admitted into the resolution process, only 348 companies have ended up with an approved resolution plan. Second factor is the poor recoveries. See, the lenders, that is the creditors, are pushed towards reducing the value of an asset. That is what we call as haircut. Since the debtors are unable to pay their debts, the creditors are forced to haircut in order to maintain a healthy balance sheet. For example, lenders have had to take a haircut of nearly 83% in case of Alloc Industries, and nearly 96% of asset has undergone a haircut in the recent Videocon group case. So IBC could not prevent the loss to creditors. Third factor is the poor liquidation. See, liquidation means selling the assets of the insolvent companies piece by piece. Revenue from such selling are paid to the creditors. But such liquidation process is said to be taking lot of time. See, as of December 2020, around 69% of liquidation has been going on for a period more than a year. And another concern is with respect to the bidding. If there is no serious bidding, then the asset value drop to a very low level, causing high losses to the creditors of insolvent firms. Fourth factor is the delay in litigation. See, the resolution under National Company Law Tribunal have been facing delays due to litigation and high volume of cases. Recently, estimates have shown that the cases take more than 400 days to get completed and settled. This is against the time limit of 270 days that is ensured by IBC. Final component is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic that led to fall in the rate of recovery under IBC. See, the data from Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India tells us that in the year of 2020 to 21, the outstanding amount to be recovered was nearly 1.32 trillion rupee. But in that, only 25,000, that is approximately 25,944 crores were recovered. That is a recovery rate of just 19.7%. This is said to be the impact of COVID-19, as lockdowns have led to delay in settling the cases. So these are the issues that which need to be sorted out for ensuring that IBC is implemented effectively. So in this article, we spoke about the challenges and also about the IBC from both the prelims and mains angle. So with this, let us finish off this topic and move to the next one. The fourth topic, budget outlay for e-court will boost efficiency, says Chief Justice of India. We all know that the recent budget got released, right? So in that budget for the year 2023, nearly 7,000 crores have been allotted for the third phase of e-courts project. This is to ensure that courts reach every citizen. See, it is said that it is the highest allocation compared to the budget allotted for the first two phases of e-court project. And moreover, the Chief Justice of India said that high allocation to such projects will improve the accessibility of judicial institutions and improve the overall efficiency of judicial systems in India. This is why this is in news. So in that line, let us discuss about the e-court project from prelims angle. See, earlier a e-committee was constituted by the Government of India after such a proposal was received from Honorable Chief Justice of India. And this e-committee was set up in the year 2004 to provide a guide map for the use of information technology and to carry out administrative reforms in the judiciary. Also, this e-committee was constituted in order to assist the CJI in formulating a national policy. This national policy was on computerization of Indian judiciary, and so in addition, the e-committee advised CJI on technological communication and management related changes. See, the e-committee came up with a policy called National Policy and Action Plan for implementation of information and communication technology in the Indian judiciary by the year 2005. And based on this policy, e-courts project was conceptualized. See, the e-courts mission mode project is a pan-India project, and know that it is monitored and funded by the Department of Justice, which functions under Ministry of Law and Justice. If you see the aim of the project aims to provide efficient and time-bound citizen-centric services that are very much detailed in e-court projects litigants charter. This charter will display what are all the services that will be provided by the e-court facility. Secondly, the project develops installs and implements decision support systems in the court. Thirdly, the e-court project automates the process to provide transparency in assessing the information. Fourthly, the project enhances judicial productivity both quantitatively and qualitatively. By that way, it makes the justice delivery system more affordable, cost effective, and transparent. If you take the salient features of the e-court project, the phase 1 and phase 2 of the project dealt with the digitization of Indian judiciary. That is like e-filing, tracking cases of online tracking cases, online uploading of judgments. Likewise, the phase 1 and phase 2 dealt with digitization of Indian judiciary. Now, the draft vision document for the phase 3 of e-courts deals with digitization of court process and in upgradation of electronic infrastructure, and also to enable access to lawyers and litigants. As a result of it, it leads to a seamless exchange of information between various branches of state, such as between the judiciary, police and prison systems through interoperable criminal justice system. See, the digital technology can play a huge role in faster delivery of justice. But however, the privacy and fundamental rights of citizens need to be protected, as the technology is only a means and not an end in itself. That is all about the article. So in this article, we saw what is a e-court mission project and also the aims and the objectives behind the project. So with this, let us complete this topic and move to the fifth and the final topic of the day. Coming to the final topic of the day is government on track on fiscal deficit targets. See, this news article is about the recent budget for the fiscal year 2023 to 2024. And in this picture, you can see, right, the fiscal deficit for the year from 2017 to 2023. And we can see the budget estimates as well as the actuals. When we compare that, although the budget estimates on fiscal deficit has been very much low, confined to some 3 to 3.5% of GDP from 2017 to 2021, we can see how the actual fiscal deficit that is given here, how the actual fiscal deficit have been recorded. It is largely deviating from budget estimates, right? So in that line, the article doubts whether the government could ensure the fiscal deficit mentioned in the 2023 budget and confine it to 5.9% of GDP as estimated. See, a fiscal deficit is a situation that occurs when the government's expenditure exceeds its income. So we can say that it is the difference between the total expenditure of the government and its total revenues excluding borrowings. Borrowings should be excluded here. Only then we can find out the borrowings from total expenditure. The formula is fiscal deficit is equal to total expenditure minus the sum of revenue receipts and non-debt creating capital receipts. So we can say that by substituting all those values, we can obtain the total debt, that is the borrowings of the government. Such borrowing to the percentage of GDP is known as fiscal deficit. See, in the union budget, the government of India chose a fiscally prudent strategy, that is to reduce the borrowings and maintain a healthy fiscal deficit that is manageable. In that way, the fiscal deficit for the fiscal year of 2023 to 2024 have been estimated at 5.9% of GDP. This is very much lower to the previous budget estimate of 6.4% of GDP. And the other component in the union budget is the revenue deficit, which is also estimated to be around 2.9% of GDP. This is also low when you compare with the last year's budget, as the revenue deficit was 4.1% of GDP. And we have to know that in what way is the government planning to reduce the fiscal and revenue deficit? This is through rationalization of subsidies. See, the major allocations to food, fertilizer and petroleum subsidies have been brought down compared to the 2022 budget. For example, the food subsidy in the revised estimates of 2022 to 2023 was nearly 2,87,000 crore. Whereas in the 2023 budget, the food subsidy has been brought down to just 1,97,350 crores. Such a measure are important because rationalization of subsidies helps the government achieve reaching a fiscal deficit target of 4.5% by 2025 to 2026. And although the subsidies have been brought down, the government of India extended the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana for another year. See, this scheme is a scheme that provides free food grains to the poor. It was introduced by the government during the first national-wide lockdown due to COVID-19 pandemic. Such a measure of extending to another year is appreciated because it addresses both the poverty and also the rising inflation in the economy. This supplements the interest rate managed by the RBI, because increasing the interest rate by RBI alone cannot address inflation. That too, the article says that increase in inflation is hurting the economy by raising the cost of funds, because when interest rates become high, the private players will shy away from getting loans and invest in the economy. So the capital spending and the infrastructure growth will come down as a result of it. So the fiscal policy needs to remain accommodative. That is, the government has to come forward and spend money through budget expenditure with a focus on gross capital formation. That is, gross capital formation should especially focus on funding infrastructure projects. So in that line, the capital spending is expected to rise to 3.3% of GDP in this 2023 budget. And the interest-free loan of nearly 1.3 lakh crore for 50 years is provided to the states in this budget. This is also expected to boost capital investments in states and also help the states in boosting their growth and development. So when the government is planning to spend such large amount of funds, the financial experts are doubting if the governments could really pull down the fiscal deficit estimate of 5.9% GDP in 2023 budget. But however, it is clear that the finance minister is focusing on growth through increased capex, that is the capital expenditure, and she also believes that increase in GDP will bring down the fiscal deficit to GDP ratio. So with this, let us complete this topic and move to the prelims and mains practice question discussion. Now coming to the first prelims question of the day. With respect to the fiscal deficit in India, consider the following statements. Statement 1, it is the difference between the total expenditure of the government and its total revenue including the borrowings. Statement 2, the fiscal deficit in India has been increasing continuously from the year 2017. Select the correct answer using the code given below. The options given are option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, option D, neither 1 nor 2. See, the first statement says it is the difference between total expenditure of the government and its total revenue. Up to this, the statement is correct. But the total revenue when calculating the fiscal deficit excludes borrowing, because fiscal deficit is itself the borrowing only. Only by calculating the fiscal deficit, we will be knowing what is the debt of the government. So the total revenue while calculating the fiscal deficit will exclude the borrowing. So the first statement is wrong. If you take the second statement, it says fiscal deficit in India has been increasing continuously from 2017. This is wrong, because in the fiscal year of 2017 to 18, the actual fiscal deficit as a percent of GDP was 3.5, but in the next year itself, that is in the year 2018 to 19 itself, the fiscal deficit has come down to 3.4. So it is not continuously increasing. So this statement is also wrong. The answer for this question is option D, neither 1 nor 2. Now coming to the second question, consider the following statement. MISTI program aims at facilitating mangrove plantation along India's coastline. Statement 2, Amrit Dharohar scheme aims at reskilling the youth in the emerging technologies required for employment. Select the correct answer using the code given below. The options given are option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, option D, neither 1 nor 2. See, in our discussion we saw, right, this MISTI scheme, that is the Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitat and Tangible Income, is a new program that facilitates mangrove plantation, that is alongside the Indian coast and even in areas wherever it is feasible. So first statement is correct. If you take the second statement, the Amrit Dharohar scheme is implemented for the next 3 years for optimal use of, that is to encourage optimal use of wetlands and to enhance biodiversity. So this is no way related to reskilling the youths. This statement is wrong. So the answer for this question is option A, 1 only. Now coming to the mains question, Critically analyze the progress made in resolving stressed assets since the enactment of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Suggest more measures to improve it further. See, this is the mains question. The aspirants can take a note of it and they can write the answers and post that in the comment section for peer review. So with this, we are winding up the session. If you really like the video, if you can understand the concepts well, please like the video, share the video, and also subscribe to ForumIAS for further updates. Thank you for listening. Good day.